Getting ready for week 9 in college football on STL Sports Central. Matthew and Randy, great to have you with us. And a lot of interesting games this week, led by the 2:30 game on ESPN. Your Missouri Tigers, if you're a Missouri Tiger fan, against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Man, this was a nothing game 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now it's the game of the day in the SEC. It's amazing how both of these teams have made such an impact on the SEC over the course of the last couple of years. Eli Drinkwitz doing an amazing job with Mizzou. Clark Lee doing an amazing job with Vandy. Vandy is a 3.5-point favorite in this game. And there's a couple of things that I look at here and I'm concerned about, Matthew. Number one, Mizzou's rushing game has not done well over the last couple of weeks. They've not done well against better opponents. And Vandy's rush defense is 11th in the country. So offense versus defense, Missouri offense versus Vandy defense, I don't like the matchup for Mizzou.
It's not a matchup I really like. By the way, the number had shifted since we last talked about this game on Thursday, Randy Karraker. It is now Mizzou's giving up 3 points to Vandy at our friends on DraftKings. That is as of late on Friday. So number is shifting a little bit later, getting a little bit of a bigger number for Missouri. Not going to lie, I kind of like that. I'm feeling something like maybe buying myself a half point here, getting myself a field goal difference here for the Tigers, because I'll just be honest, everything you just mentioned there is 100% correct. The things in Mizzou's favor are they can shut down the Vandy running game, and that has been shown to shut down the Vandy offense at times. But there's been too many, that's a projection thing. Let's talk about things that have happened here this season for Missouri. The secondary blows plays.
Yeah, they do.
And against a guy who can break containment and extend plays, you can't convince me that he's not getting at least 2 45-plus yard completions and that one of them isn't into like the fairway essentially and a touchdown essentially after the yards after the carry. Like that will happen multiple times in this game. And so the question is can Missouri, in addition to not only letting up 2 of those, can they eliminate the mistakes that we've seen them make from a penalty and turnover point on their side of things? All of that wraps up in that I think they are a more talented team overall. But all of those variables tell me it's a close game, and that because of the home factor and things like that, I'm breaking it towards Vandy, which is why, again, I think 24-21 in favor of Vandy is good, which if you're just looking at the scoreboard down in the bottom right-hand corner, again, buy yourself half a point. You're sitting pretty, I think.
Here's what I think needs to happen for Mizzou to win the game. I think they need to run the ball reasonably well. I don't think that they need to have 200 yards or they don't need to have one of those. They were number 2 in the country in rushing earlier in the season. Yeah. They don't need to have 250 yards. I think if they can get 175 on the ground, that would be huge. They're going to need to get one big play out of the passing game. I don't care who it goes to, whether it goes to Speedy Johnson or whether it goes to Kevin Coleman or the freshman or even Norfleet. They need to get one big play out of one big scoring play out of the passing game. The other thing they have to do is contain Pavia. As you mentioned, he's great off schedule. So you can't be too anxious when you're pass rushing Pavia. You can't let him get outside the pocket. You can't give him extra time. I think the athleticism of the Mizzou defensive ends, and especially if you have Trotter getting pressure up the middle, the athleticism for Mizzou's defensive line, front 7, is actually greater than what LSU had last week. I think Mizzou has a better chance to contain Pavia than LSU had, and you need to prevent those plays happening on a regular basis. Are they going to happen 2 or 3 times during the course of the game? Yes. But can you let them happen 6 or 7 times during the course of the game? No. So there's my thing for you. Run the ball 150 to 175 yards, one big touchdown out of the passing game, and keep Pavia on schedule. Don't let him get outside the pocket. Don't let him make plays more than 2 or 3 times during the game.
Do you think, because I'm going to maybe probably remove myself in it because I'm not going to be able to emotionally risk manage this one. I'm going to remove myself, and I think I'm looking at the under 52.5 as something that I can then watch the game with a little bit more just general interest in the total score and not freak out if Mizzou's down by 3.
I would say
I feel like this game's being battled in the 20s.
52 is not a bet I would make. The first thing that I thought of was 24-21. But could I see 27-24?
24-21, you're sitting pretty.
Yep. And 27-24, you're right there at the
Right
edge.
there.
Right?
Yeah, I like
So,
those numbers.
But the thing is, both teams have the chance to come up with an unusual score.
Yeah.
Right. Both teams do. And Missouri, with the way that they take the ball away, they absolutely could come up with a defensive score that would change it. That's why I wouldn't make that bet.
You know what? Or the thing we've been clamoring for happens later today, and Mizzou opens up the offense today, and Alubade is all of a sudden a starting receiver and getting number 1 or number 2 routes, and I think that would really open up the offense. And heck, at that point, I think Mizzou's scoring 30.
Oh, then that'd be good. Now that's the emotion talking, isn't it?
Damn it. Damn it.
Yeah, Vandy's really good. I think obviously Mizzou can win this game, but I think like you, I think if it's going to be in that 24-21, 27-24 range, I think I would go with Vandy.
It's projection versus reality. And the reality of what has happened this season on the actual field the last 3 weeks for both of these teams, if it continues, Vandy wins.
There you go. Can Mizzou run the ball to the tune of 150 to 175? Based on what we've seen the last couple of weeks, you would not think so. Can Mizzou come up with a big play in the passing game? Based on the last couple of weeks, you would not think so. And the big thing is, can you keep Pavia from making off-schedule plays more than 4 or 5 times a game? I wouldn't think so. So I'm with you there. It's going to be tough, and he's the key. The quarterback is always the key, even though he's not the only guy. But he's the key. If Mizzou can contain him, then they got a really good chance of winning.
I'm going to go full negative Nancy on this one. I think Mizzou loses by 3 touchdowns. Ooh. If Auburn last week, if Auburn just catches that ball in the first half, the deep pass where he had Toriano Pride beat by a step. If he catches that ball
on the first series, right?
Yeah, I feel like something like that game breaks an entirely different way. Yeah. Oh my God. And so that's why I need to see a little bit more.
But that's the way Mizzou wins. I mean, we can go back the last couple of years when they've been so successful. Go back to the start of this hot run. What'd they do? They got a 61-yard field goal from the thicker kicker against Kansas State, right?
All right, Randy. Speaking of a hot run, UCLA heads into Indiana.
So UCLA gets
25.5 points.
Yeah. It's UCLA has a new coach who, by the way,
is not the offensive coordinator.
It's Rick Neuheisel's son.
He's the offensive coordinator. He's not the head coach.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, good.
That's the thing is everyone keeps talking about him, not the head coach.
Google him Neuheisel because he looks like Sunshine.
He does look exactly like Sunshine.
So
Tim Skipper, by the way, is the interim head coach of UCLA.
Oh, okay. But the guy who's really the head coach is Neuheisel, right?
Well, if you're watching the highlight reels.
Yeah. So anyway, UCLA, as you mentioned, 25.5 point underdog. Indiana is not Penn State. And I would think that Kurt Cignetti has his team primed for this game, and they'll probably win by 25 points.
Yeah, but Neuheisel's got the magic. He's going to make it interesting, right?
Well, here's the thing and I'm amazed that UCLA was able to go to Penn State and win. College teams coming from the West to the East should theoretically have a lot more problems. And I know that we see it all the time that teams have really good games or even win coming from West to East. But this is 11 o'clock, and I've used this one before, right? 11 o'clock in the morning game, Central Time. That is 9 o'clock in the morning for the UCLA players. That means they're at the stadium at 6 o'clock their time, and they're up at 5 o'clock their time. What college student is getting up at 5 in the morning? So I think that UCLA will probably be really asleep at the beginning of this game, and by then it'll be too late.
Penn State was you were correct. Penn State did have to travel on that one. That was a home game. That was UCLA, a home game. For UCLA.
Yeah. So I like Indiana to 25.5. I think it's a great line. I'll go with Indiana to cover on this one.
I think this is going to be one of those games where UCLA is going to be it'll be 14-14 in the second half or in the second quarter, and then Indiana will put on will put the pedal down and probably stomp them into the dirt. It'll be a fun scoreboard watch for a couple hours in the middle of your day. Always enjoyable. It's what we love about college football. But yeah, probably they're probably going to kick their teeth. Kurt Cignetti just got the contract. He's got the boys fired up. Number 2 IU. Either this season is fully insane and we have no idea. And honestly, there's nothing that would make me happier than for this to happen. Not anything against Indiana. Shouts to Tom Ackerman and company. But this would be hilarious. First of all, it would make UCLA. It would like what would I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know what I would be able to think about number 4 UCLA, or a 4-4 UCLA team if they have wins over Penn State and IU. Kurt Cignetti signing his contract, then this happening would be the height of hilarity.
Well,
I just hope it's a close game.
here's
It's
the
not
thing.
going to be, but I hope it is.
If UCLA wins that game, which of their interim coaches do they pick to be the head coach?
That's a good question. It's a very good question.
Okay, here's a fun one. 2 teams that are 5-2 overall and 2-2 in the Big Ten. 23rd ranked Illinois is at Washington. That game 2:30 on Big Ten Network. And the Illini have struggled of late. Washington got off to a good start too. Washington's sneaky good, and they're really good at home. They're a 3.5-point favorite, and I kind of like the Huskies in this game.
Yeah, this one's going to be tricky for the Illini. The big thing is going to be what was getting them through the first couple of weeks, what has betrayed them against Indiana and Ohio State, turnovers, and then losing control of the game early. Can they set the tone? Can they come out? Can Luke Altmaier not? I shouldn't say even throw turnovers, because a lot of these interceptions for him have just like come off batted balls and insane little plays like that. Can they just avoid freaky turnovers? If they can do that, this is going to be a close game. I would stay away from it because I think Illinois is going to be, struggling to try to win this one, like 21-20 and something along those lines. It's going to be an incredibly tough game. I think they can win it, but to your point, an away game against a tough Washington team like this, yeah, it's going to be tricky. This will be one, though, if Illinois can win it, kind of sets up the rest of their schedule pretty well. Again,
Luke Altmaier has struggled of late.
Yeah.
Washington does have a pretty good rush defense. They're top 20 in the country, allowing 97.5 per game. Overall, their defense at Washington has been really good and better at home. So I don't think it'll be a game where you said 21-20?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a game where the Illini score any more than 20 points.
Oh, damn, that's rough. If they get started early, the big thing with them, they like to go into the trick play bucket. Getting an early lead helps, gives you some confidence, gives you some space on defense, on the offensive side to roam. I would say, depending on how this game is sitting at about halfway through the second quarter, I wouldn't much change the outset from there. If Washington's up by a touchdown before half, that's probably going to be where it ends.
So I think but like you said, I think it will be competitive. Would I bet on this game? No chance.
Nope, not a chance.
All right, let's move to our next game, and this is also going to be a fun one. Texas A&M taking on LSU. LSU falling at Vandy last week. Brian Kelly apparently on the hot seat. A&M is undefeated and one of the best teams in all of college football, and I think that the hot seat is going to just get hotter for Brian Kelly.
Yeah, if LSU had a different coach, this would be a fun upset alert pick. With Death Valley, always a tough road match. I'm not gonna taunt A&M for the future, but I think I don't know if they're the number 3 overall team in the country this year, or they have the fear that most number 3s can drive into you.
Their record says they are. The eye test says no.
Exactly.
Right.
But LSU is coached by Brian Kelly, a fraud who will soon be fired. And so to that point, Texas A&M wins this one by 3 touchdowns.
Wow. That's quite
because I think this is the end of Brian Kelly. And I think usually when these things end, there's a catastrophic game. And nothing fits better into the narrative of a number 3 Texas A&M team than slaughtering an LSU team that has no heart and is not playing for their coach anymore. It bumps up the as you say, the paper version of A&M without actually answering any questions about the real version of A&M on the field, which is kind of perfect. Sometimes college football plays along with the storyline perfectly, and that's exactly what this game is going to do. A&M is going to rip them apart in the second half, and it might just be the final deserved end of Brian Kelly.
So, and if you do have questions about A&M, if they go in and do that at LSU at night, then they're authentic. Then they're absolutely legit.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Then they're a national championship contender. I think it's going to be a closer game than that. I think LSU will play with a level of pride, and we know how hard it is to go into Death Valley and win at night. Again, we have A&M as a 2.5-point favorite. I think that's a great line. I would say A&M wins by a late field goal, or they win by 2 because Brian Kelly calls for a field goal, and it's with like 10 seconds left, and he should have run another play. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be a fun way for it to end for Brian Kelly. That'd make me laugh.
So, and boy, would that be
Coming and
another
going.
buyout. That
Brian Kelly and LSU coming and going, making me laugh.
Alabama playing South Carolina. South Carolina, a massive disappointment this year. Alabama, after that opening loss where everybody was talking about Kalen DeBoer's buyout, now they're 6-1. They're 4-0 in the conference. South Carolina 3-4, 1-4 in the conference. Alabama is an 11.5 point favorite on the road, and the way they're going, we saw them against Mizzou. I think that's pretty legit line. I think Alabama goes into South Carolina and beats them by more than 11.5.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to be okay with. I think I'm taking the over on this one, 47.5. I think Alabama's going to sprint their way to a nice Kalen DeBoer. Washington looking 38 to 40 points in this game, which means all I need to do is South Carolina not to completely crap all over themselves in this game. Maybe get some junk points at the end. I like the over in this one. I think Bama gets running early, and that game's wide open from the get-go.
And then BYU won the Holy War last week at Utah, and now
this is interesting.
Yeah, they play at Iowa State, a classic Big 12 matchup. Right. Iowa State, Matt Campbell at home, 5-2, 2-2 in the Big 12. BYU 7-0, 4-0 in the Big 12. BYU, by the way, only ranked 11th, despite the fact that they're 7-0. The first question I have,
and they're road dogs here.
So, what happens on the road with BYU wives and girlfriends? Like, if you have 3 wives that are participating in this game,
you can't go on the road with 3 wives.
You can't.
Now, as soon as you leave the state of Utah, you're kind of open yourselves up.
But you're only buying them tickets. I mean, you're not going to arrest them in Iowa, right? So I just wonder how that works. Okay, so we used to work with a guy.
Oh Jesus!
That was a former player.
Oh,
in the NFL, and he had a former teammate that was playing for another team, and the guy called up and said, "Hey, buddy, can you get me 4 tickets for the game in St. Louis?" He said, "Sure, no problem." He said, "But make sure they aren't together." He said, "Okay, no problem." So there was one set of tickets like in row 2 and another set of tickets in row 4, but in the same section, not together, but in the same section.
Probably should have maybe explained how far apart a little bit more.
Yeah. So the guy that we worked with is on one side of the ball, and the other guy was directly on the other side of the ball. And the other guy has looked into the stands. He said, "Dude, I told you to get tickets that weren't together." And the guy said, they weren't. I told them to give them not together. So he looks over and he said, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "Well, my wife is in one section, and then right 2 rows behind her is my girlfriend. I can't have them that close together." So like this was a conversation for the whole game. And it wound up being a non-issue, I guess, because they didn't all have like jerseys of the same player on, but it was really close to being a disaster over at the Dome.
And that player eventually moved to Utah and lived happily ever after with everyone involved.
Yeah. So BYU is an underdog at Iowa State. I think that's a funny story, dude. What you doing here?
Hilarious, ridiculous.
So,
different lives. Yep. They're living different lives.
Iowa State unranked. Maybe this is the year, by the way, that Matt Campbell moves on to another team. Iowa State's really good. They got off to that great start last year, and they're really good this year. I think, based on what I saw with BYU last week against Utah, I think that Iowa State is going to beat them at home.
You think so?
Yep.
Rocco Becht has had some turnover issues at time this season, but he 2 weeks ago facing off against Cincinnati, he had a big game, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the team came up short in that game. And I think that's probably what's going to happen at home. I think Becht and company have a big game at home in front of their home crowd. I think BYU, to your point, it's hard to gauge when you look at the schedule and who they've played, hence why they're ranked where they are despite their record. I think they keep on rolling. I think they keep on moving up. I think it's going to be a close game, hence what Vegas is telling with the 2.5. But I think BYU clears this one. I think if you can get this at 2.5 still right now this morning, I say take it.
And by the way, Iowa State's 2 losses in their last 2 games at Cincinnati, 38-30, and then by a touchdown last week at Colorado. So they come home and they get BYU. And
BYU's story is great too. Their quarterback, they have to move on from him because of he has some legal troubles.
Legal troubles, Mormon troubles.
There you go. He gets
unless you're married.
He gets
and you're a BYU football player. You can't lay in a biblical way with.
I think there was also an issue with like her perception of the situation as well. But bottom line, they got a young kid who's leading them. I like the storyline. I like the offense for BYU. And when you look at Cincinnati, or when you look at how Iowa State giving up all those points against Cincinnati, I think this will be a good game for the BYU offense.
And that game is on Fox, and that's at 2:30 St. Louis time. So there you have it. That's our college football preview. Go Mizzou, go Illini, and we'll talk about it next week here on the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central. And oh, by the way, once this season is into the playoff area and once we're into the bowls, you need to get ready because, hey, you'll be able to start placing money on games here in the state of Missouri. It's coming soon to the Show Me State. And if you are in Missouri, you can get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings is launched on December 1st in Missouri. Download the app now and place a $5 bet when they go live. And DraftKings Sportsbook will have everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action. And when we do officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with a sportsbook app trusted by millions of people all over the country, safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live on December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
There it is. And you're back on Monday, aren't you?
Back on Monday.
Woohoo!
Yeah, be fun. Looking forward to it. Have a great weekend.